Hey, everybody. I'm really excited for this chat today with the industry powerhouse that is Informa TechTarget. Rebecca, how are you?
I'm doing great, Evan. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing well. Very cold. We're just commiserating. We're both based in the Boston area, so we're looking for an exit somewhere this winter. I'm headed south, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, thanks so much for joining. Maybe some quick introductions to yourself and your team and mission within Informa TechTarget.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. I'm currently the president of a very newly formed company. We were born on December 2nd, 2024, although coming with a long heritage. The predecessor to Informa TechTarget was TechTarget, where I started in February of 2002. So 23
Wow.
years into the TechTarget journey. And this combination with some digital assets of the parent company Informa that was combined together with TechTarget, and we created actually a new company that is publicly traded on NASDAQ. And Informa continues to be our majority shareholder. So we are also a division of Informa, which is a $5 billion company based out of London.
Fantastic. Well, I've known of both companies and brands, gosh, pretty much my entire professional life. So why did Inform and TechTarget decide to join forces? What was the big idea behind the combination?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because while a little bit different, both companies have been doing very similar things for a long time. I'll start with TechTarget. We were born in 1999 with the theory that technology buyers didn't always get the right independent information they needed to make good purchase decisions. At the time, the internet was just starting to evolve. So it was starting to think about the shift of independent content and being able to access your own content and do research on your own and not just rely on technology vendors and what they might be telling you. But also the internet was kind of a new place. And the theory on the internet was there was a lot of information out there, but how do you trust it, or how do you know what's good, and how do you guide yourself through your internet journey? So TechTarget was born to kind of very specifically isolate really high quality, very relevant content to the technology buyer. And we were doing this at a really granular level, looking at AS400 and mainframes and data storage, really in the early days of that technology. And in doing that, we provided a really strong platform for audiences to come and engage with original content, but then also a platform for vendors to access people who were looking at the types of technologies that they were looking to sell and kind of create that digital medium of advertising and content consumption and all that. So Informa is doing something similar, but in a very different medium. They're mostly an events company, although I would state that Informa has a bigger objective. Their tagline is championing the specialist. So they really believe in very specialized audiences who are looking very specialized education and networking and connection experiences. And they do that through events globally. And at this point, they're the largest, I think, global event provider, in addition to having some other digital assets as well. But the industrial logic, I think that might be interesting to this conversation was the power of original content and digital audiences. And as they search for independent information, if we could bring those things together under a leadership team that sort of has history with focusing on digital engagement and not divorcing the relationship with events, but really thinking about how the digital experience can continue to thrive for audiences and for advertisers and customers, made sense. So, bringing those digital assets together that really focus on digital research, digital content, and digital engagement is really what Informa TechTarget is going to be all about.
Wow, what a blockbuster new category. So maybe talk about the unique sort of business offerings of the new venture. How would you describe them? What are the pillars?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to talk about our venture and our pillars and all that, but I think it's important for us to really think about a key customer in all of this, and that's the buyer,
Mm.
the IT audience, an audience. But in our case, it's usually a buyer of enterprise B2B technology. And what's crazy about that, I just described what was happening in 1999 when the company was born. It's a lot like what's happening today with AI and the introduction of AI and how that's going to really change and provide new opportunities for content consumption. But it also means there's a lot of content out there, and which content do you trust? And this whole notion of trust within AI is a new horizon for all of us, both as individual consumers and certainly in business consumers. So we focus a lot on that. I mean, that's what keeps me up at night, is how to really think about what buyers are looking for, how they're going to get information to do their jobs. We can't forget, especially post-COVID, that technology is just a critical part of business. And I think that's a lot about what your podcast and your content's about, is that intersection of technology and business, and what does that mean, and how technology drives business, and then also how business can be made from technology. And we sort of sit at that intersection as well. So a lot of our products and services that I can certainly tell you about really centers on that, right? What's the information landscape look like? How do you make good decisions to make these really complicated business critical innovations that face every business today?
Wow, it's a great lead in. And when it comes to the buyer, the customer, I've been on the sales side for my whole career. 35 years ago, started in sales, and yet I'm in social media basically in marketing. Despite never have ever worked professionally in marketing. So the relationship between sales and marketing is really evolved, is changing. How do you see that relationship these days, and what does it mean for those buyers and for, Informa TechTarget?
I mean, that's the exact point, is the buying landscape has changed, which has forced a very new selling paradigm. When we were creating the company 25 years ago, it was to really figure out how vendors can adapt to the digital landscape. And that's when digital advertising and really the notion of digital lead gen and how you can access buyers and really turn that into leads that then go into your pipeline. And then TechTarget also created intent data in 2014, which was the concept of what buyers are doing when they're not with you has a meaningful value to whether or not you can engage them and bring them into your sales pipeline. So we've been on this journey, I think, specifically the last few decades, to assess how do vendors and sellers get control. And unfortunately, it's really a buyer-led research process. There's all sorts of stats that buyers spend less than 5% of their time assessing the technology or the purchase that they're going to make without you, and you have no control over that. So what we're really aiming to do is service this audience and making sure that we become and continue to be that trusted source of authority. And we do that with market proximity. Our content, while I think is wonderful, I would say it's not the sexiest. You're not going to come back to our websites over and over and over again if you're not really focused on the topics that we serve, because the notion of targeting and making sure that content is relevant to the purchase process or the research process is very important. But also, you have to think about where it is in the purchase process, and where are you? Are you learning about something? Are you trying to evaluate and getting that advice? And we do that through our editorial content, but also we arm a very large analyst community. At this point, the Informa TechTarget analyst division that has gone under the brand of Omdia is the fourth largest research company in the world. And there
Wow.
are analysts all over the globe who are doing independent research, doing market tracking, and really trying to figure out exactly what's happening out there and using that intelligence to guide vendors. So how can we give the audience what they need, in turn really translate that relationship with our audience to first party data? And that data has become really important in the sales process for our vendors, because again, we don't always have the ability to call up our prospects, have them answer the phone, and control the conversation. They're learning around us.
Brilliant. Love the approach. So you're a giant but in a landscape that's a multi-trillion dollar marketplace these days, and probably getting bigger. So how do you see yourself, versus other players in the market? I won't name names, but
Yeah.
how do you see yourself maintaining your competitive edge and that differentiation?
Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting because the market of technology is growing at a rapid pace. I mean, it's going to be over $5 trillion this year, and I don't think we expect it to continue. Advancements in AI, the threats of security are going to continue. So that's a good landscape for technology purchases, which is then fosters the need for technology vendors. At the same time, technology vendors have a harder job than ever before. One, because there's more vendors than ever before. Every day there's new vendors that are coming into market. So that means the competitive landscape is just, higher than ever before. But also this notion of how do I get control? How do I access the audiences when buyers control their own research process? And ultimately, they're going to make purchase decisions based on things that, they read on the internet or they learn about you. So that's where we stay focused on. Our products and services really have to span the life cycle of a customer's go to market. And if you think about what a vendor needs to do when they're bringing a new product to market, there's everything from what features do I need to develop, what problems are out there that still haven't been solved, or I think I can solve in a new way. And they need outside perspective, right? If we're all subjective, we all believe our products and our babies are perfect. So we really need validation and outside independent perspective, and that's really what people use analysts for. So the fact that we have an internal analyst division that is out there producing really high quality research and reports really helps at that phase of the go to market, and really guiding our customers to understand what's happening in the space. But it doesn't stop there. I mean, ultimately, when we're really bringing the digital behavior of our audience, I think something that I didn't mention yet, but I think is really important, and I'll tell you why it's important, is the relationship we have with the audience actually turns into membership. So when users are coming to our audience or coming to our sites, at some point we make them register. And at that point they become members. It allows them to unlock all sorts of content on our network, but it's where we get not only their contact information and who are they, but then we get their permissions and getting opt-in compliant data that can then be used to market to them, and having our customers market on behalf of them is a really critical part. So this notion of data being first party, because it's our owned audiences, our owned content, our owned research, but also we're getting their permissions, and opt-in is a big part of the portfolio offerings, and it's kind of infused in everything we do for our customers.
Yeah, that's amazing. And first party permission data, as you call it, can be really impactful. How does that work globally? You've got so many regulations and rules these days around data protection and data privacy, and the whole GDPR thing must make your
Absolutely.
life a little bit complicated.
It is, but I think it is such a key differentiator, and it's a key part of our strategy. We do operate in 23 countries, so we
Mm,
have to be very mindful to the local and the regional needs of the audiences, and also the marketing practices of those regions. We are very in tune with the extensiveness of things like GDPR. We operate in DACH in Germany locally. And then also here in the US, where we have a different type of approach. But even regardless of, I mean, certainly compliance and regulations is a big
mm.
factor, and very large vendors have to face enormous risk mitigation in their marketing activities. But even bigger than that, I think it's about personalization, right? The effectiveness of your go to market is dependent on whether you know the audience you're reaching out to. And that's sometimes a glossed over part of marketing, especially when you think about the MarTech landscape and how marketers and sellers are spending more and more of their budget and their time investing in software so they can go faster and automate more, and send more email or find prospects. But what they're missing sometimes is who are you reaching out to. And if you don't know who, not just job function who I should sell to because they're part of my ideal customer profile, but it is John Smith at Nike and they care about this business problem today versus this business problem today, you're not going to be able to personalize. And when you go back to this, like, there's no shortage of information on the web, and who do you trust? Because a lot of information right now can be either at the most egregious, it could be false, or you don't trust the AI. But even the most innocent marketer right now is they just have an objective, right? They're trying to sell you
Mm.
something. So their content and their message that they put out is really going to be to serve that purpose. So we find that the permission of the audience both solves a regulatory need. Can you email this person? Yes or no, without potentially getting sued. But it also provides the most effective execution, because you are learning about what that person cares the most about, and you can then tailor your sales and marketing outreach to them, and that's going to get you the best response. If you get more response to your emails, you're going to hopefully get more people to go in your sales funnel and progress pipeline faster.
That's pure gold. And so, in addition to these services around data that you describe, I mean, how else do you work with marketing teams to kind of accelerate their
Yeah.
growth and reach?
Yeah, I mean, the heritage of our business and the businesses that we combined with Informa Tech, the digital assets that now joined, have definitely a marketing services and sales services heritage, right? We provided products that helped customers execute campaigns, target audiences, bring them in the funnel, and then our intent data helps you know more about those accounts and
Mm.
prospects, so you can be most efficient and effective in your targeting, your personalization. That's and even within Informa TechTarget, I would say it's 2/3 of our revenue is really targeted in that part of the go-to-market funnel. The thing that I think sometimes the industry forgets about is, in our search for data-driven optimization and speed and efficiency in our marketing execution, we have to have products that people want to buy. So if you're out there marketing a product that falls short of the customer's expectations, or maybe you do something in a new way, right? You've come up with a new way to solve a problem. As you market to your prospects, they might not understand that. So you can have a misfit in terms of somebody who might respond to a marketing message. They attend a webinar, they do all that, and then what they're hearing is not really what they want to invest in. They want to go a different direction. So we talk a lot to our customers about how these up funnel decisions in your go to market, right? What products are you going to build? What features are you going to prioritize? How do you solve a problem differently than someone else? Or maybe you even have a flaw in your product, right? Like your development got delayed 6 months, and you have to kind of scramble a little bit. That impacts whether or not you're going to convert pipeline. And I don't know if, as marketers, we sort of give enough credit to that, and we have to really figure out how can we bridge the gap with our product teams and collaborate. That's what they're looking at analysts to do, is provide them insight and expertise that helps optimize that part of their go to market. But even in the content you're developing, right? Are you developing messaging that resonates? If you put a message out and you're trying to pioneer a new marketing term, is your audience even going to understand that you're talking about something that they care about? So I think what I'd love to really talk to our customers about is a differentiation that we do recognize that there's a full go to market. And if your full go to market isn't optimized, you can really hurt your ability to have down funnel. So that's really where the other third of our products and services fit in: research and analyst services, consulting, and content services that help to make sure that you're delivering messages and marketing campaigns that will resonate with your target audience. And by the way, all that's stemming from the fact that we have this behavioral data within our own audiences that can kind of tell us at any given time, this customer is going to respond to this message, and here's why.
Wow, what a brilliant approach. So when it comes to the future, we're in a pretty exciting time, to say the least. What are some of the, trends or industry shifts that you're most excited about or focused on? Obviously, everyone's AI obsessed and fanatic, but what else? What's shaping your
AI
vision?
obsessed, AI concerned, AI, opportunistic, right? It's all of those emotions, right? We feel as leaders here. I think there's two things. One, I mentioned at the top of the hour, this is a new company that is also a division of a very large company. So we're really focused on combination and really being able to help our customers understand what this means. You referenced earlier just the size of the audience. I think might be worth putting that into perspective. We now have access to 50 million permissioned audiences across the globe.
Wow.
When we took the databases together, we just did database overlap. We saw about 114% increase in net new domains that we track, just net new accounts and companies that we're tracking within our audience. But there was less than a 5% overlap in the people. So I think it really shows that audiences gravitate to content sources and content types based on their own interest. So while we're bringing together these properties under one umbrella known as Informa TechTarget, we are not trying to consolidate and minimize the ability for users to continue to go to their destinations of choice. And it's really reinforced in the data we saw. Like even in the companies that we share, like if we were tracking Nike and Informa was tracking Nike, we now have 2 times the number of prospects at Nike. So it really helps expand access to buying groups and things that are really top of mind for customers. So number one job is to just execute on the combination and really helping our customers take advantage of that expanded reach into the accounts and the prospects that matter to them, but also help them unlock some of those challenges across go-to-market functions. And really, we kind of sell to different personas across an organization. And really, how do we help unify those personas within an organization to make sure that they're talking to each other and recognizing that when they collaborate together, they're going to have better results. So that's your, and also we have now 2,100 employees across the globe, getting everything together in one organization, which has, been a really exciting endeavor. Just to ask, what excites us? I mean, the age of AI is here and we're actively working on that. I think, my take on AI is that it's got fantastic technology capabilities, but if you looked at it only as a content source, there's a lot of risk there. I mean, AI doesn't have any context, right? It doesn't have expertise. It just has what it's learned from based on what's available out there. So we really see the opportunity to have, I don't want to call it this, but think of it as like, private sandboxes of information. Like we really understand the markets we serve. So we are introducing AI capabilities that are highly contextual to the topics in the markets that matter to you. And you can learn from our content. And we have outputs now that we're offering to our customers, whether it's, hey, write an email to your prospects, but you're going to pull that email from our private LLM and not from the overall public LLM, all the way up to, new ways that we can help customers, create long form content, adjust their ICP, deal with strategic parts as well. And then also the last thing I think is really interesting is the user behavior of online and offline medium. Like I mentioned, Informa is an events company. We are, as a division of Informa, we have new ways to collaborate between events and digital properties that are in the markets we serve. We just had some preliminary insights that I think are interesting here. Informa has a security event known as Black Hat. It's one of the biggest events in the security space.
I've been many times. It's amazing. Yeah.
There you go. But when we looked at our TechTarget security audience activity in the week after Black Hat in 2024, which was before we were combined, we saw a 20% increase in research. We saw a 22% increase in the number of vendors they came to us to research. So what are people doing? They're going to Black Hat. They're immersed in the event. They leave the event. They go to digital properties to research. Same thing happened when we looked at a non-Informa event like reInvent, which is the AWS event. Our cloud computing audience spiked the week after the show. So I think we have to really think about how to harness that and continue to provide ongoing value to the audience and to customers. And I think that'll be something we can probably pretty quickly start to activate as we go through this year and the future.
Lots of work to be done for sure. What about you personally as we head into the year over the next few weeks, months? What are you excited about? Any travel or events or otherwise that you're looking forward to?
Well, I do laugh at your reaction to lots of exciting work because there's many, many leaders at Informa TechTarget that are doing a lot of this hard work and our customers because now they're learning us in new ways. I'm actually headed to Dubai for the first time in a couple of weeks to the Informa leadership event. I think that's even interesting to see what they've been able to do locally. There's a lot of global expansion that's happening. And we're bringing some new events to the Middle East region, which is just a hotbed for technology investment. So I'm heading out there, and I think that's going to be both a personal and a professional experience. I've never been to that region of the world. If I can only get my 15-year-old son and my 9-year-old daughter to be self-sufficient for the week, that should be, and see how many phone calls I get from them,
Yeah,
which,
good luck with that. I've
right.
been there. Yeah.
I joke, but of course it's endearing, right? Because we know they grow far too fast.
Well, it's a wonderful opportunity, and can't wait to meet up in person. And
Yeah,
thanks for joining, just sharing a little bit of your insight and updates. And of course, this will be on my Bright Talk channel as well as my, various social channels. And thanks for joining.
absolutely, Evan. Thanks for having me, and I'm excited to continue to have the dialogue, not just about us, but certainly about all these changes in the industry. It's a fun time to be in tech and a fun time to be in marketing for sure.
Indeed. Thanks everyone for watching, listening, and sharing.